I, I sort of messed up the numbers of the lessons yesterday. So today we're on 354. And the reason why I'm laughing is because this is a direct statement as to the nature of what I am, who I am, what you are, who you are. And it's very plain, yet it's very lofty conceptually, unless, as Jesus is certain right now, because of the nature of the work that you've done upon yourself in the utilization of these lessons and the ability for each and every one of us, because of what this lesson says, to get in touch with that which heals us of the misperception of who we are, because each and every one of us has that ability, has been given that. We brought that with us when we came, because it is the self that we were created to be as God created us. And because of the nature of the workbook lessons and the well laid out plan that is the workbook as part of the atonement, part of the process of the plan for atonement, each and every one of us now can begin to approach our Father directly, because we understand the nature of fear as only being associated with the false identity that we seem to be subject to within the illusion, the dream of space and time. And when we identify with that false self, that false sense of self that we know is, how should I say this, that we know is not our true self because of the nature of the experience. Identifying with the false self produces the effects of guilt and fear, doubt, um, you see, lack, um, loss of meaning, a sense of being separate, not having purpose. And when we identify with the true self through the utilization of forgiveness in the Holy Spirit, the experiences we have are totally opposite from the experience we have when we identify with the ego. So much so that the totality of the opposition of the experience to, by comparison, the nature of the egoically fostered experiences, when we look at them and we've had and understand the nature of the experience based on our identifying with the Holy Spirit through forgiveness, that by comparison, the experiences that we have when we attune our heart and our mind to the Spirit and allow ourselves that space for the Spirit of God, which is one, to inform us of its own completion and ours along with it, in the experience of the completion and the nature of our own perfect self. Everything, all the symptomology and effects that the ego fosters are gone to never have been. Okay, so now we have this dichotomy, this paradox in our mind, where we can recognize there's a true solution for once and for all, and yet still see that there's healing to be done within our own heart and mind, because we get the effects from time to time of separation and have learned to not judge ourselves by them, but to utilize them to continue along the path that we've chosen, which is the acceptance of the atonement, the healing of our heart and mind, and the miracles that shorten the nature of time so that everyone can discover their oneness with the Father as the Son, and the unreality of a condition that could be opposite to that. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in him is his creator as he is in me. There's an incredible weaving of concepts in this lesson. And I'm going to advise all of you to read these words slowly, purposefully, with an open mind that hasn't written the meaning of the words in the space where you allow the word to enter, that hasn't written the meaning of the word in the space where you're allowing the word to enter. Okay? Because you've given up the past and have recognized that nothing in the past that you learned can help you now, because the past is gone, the future is not here, and when you allow yourself, when you expose yourself in the emptiness of the necessity to solve your own problems that exist only because you believe the images are your reality. When you stand in that open space, in that empty space, what is afforded you is an experience and a view through the vision of Christ of who you are and who Christ is within the kingdom of heaven. And in that experience, you'll begin to understand the interaction, the interplay, the energy of creation as being the activity of your being, as being the reality of yourself, and the flow of the non-conceptual communication, which is the living love of God. I saw a sign today. I was in Bakersfield, and there was a point in time when Jesus told me that we were joined, we were connected, we were joined. The way we communicated between both worlds was he used the idea of water. Water joins us. Water flows freely. There's a free flow of the communication of life between the seeming two worlds, because our world, our mind, where communication occurs, our heart, where the communication occurs, is not really in the world. It is in reality as the Christ, dreaming that there's an avatar, this body, that represents, how should I put this? The body in the world represents the exact opposite of what this lesson is telling us that we are, in that it's a condition of limitation based on anything but freedom and subject to the laws of the world, rather than, as we're going to read, wholly free of every laws but yours, and that law is the law of love. But if you read this mindfully, you can begin to feel the flow of that creative reality of love, of meaning, of purpose, of connectedness, of joined, how should I say this? The sense of being joined with something greater, the escape from your littleness into the magnitude of the reality that you were created to be part of. My oneness with Christ establishes me as your son beyond the reach of time and wholly free of every law but yours. I have no self except the Christ in me. I have no purpose but his own, and he is like his Father. Thus must I be one with you as well as him, for who is Christ except your Son, as you created him? And what am I except the Christ in me?